All right, it is benchmarking time. As long as when YouTube didn't mess up the live stream again, or I messed up something in the live stream. It's all possible. It's looking good though. We got a hell of a show today. I've got everything downloaded. Well, most things. We're still gonna have a couple downloads. Have a new 30-something ridiculous vertical monitor over here because last live stream I missed a crap ton of chat. I apologize for that. And yeah, so I'm going to be able to keep track of chat because I should be able to fit, I would say, around 50 lines of chat. Maybe more. I don't know. It's just a lot. It's all the way from here to like down here. It's crazy. I can show you a picture here in a second. So, with that, we can jump into it. I do have quite a bit of stuff planned. 4 benchmarks for today's video. CSGO, Warframe, we're going to do just kind of a native so you can kind of see the real world differences between them. And then we also have Quake II RTX. We'll hit some RTX action. I think that would be a pretty good one. And then we also have, on top of that, one last one. What was it? I think Shadow of the Tomb Raider I threw in there because that's a pretty common benchmark as well. And it's on Phoronix because we want things that work in both Linux and Windows to compare so we get more of an apples to apples. We do have a lot of different stuff as well in the testing range, which is kind of cool. I'll be taking stuff from chat, so if there's something like a game you'd like to see, chances are we can install it and play it. We're just going to kind of see everything as it gets uploaded to the site. We do have everything uploading and documented through open benchmarking. I will be doing a YouTube video, more cut down version of this, so if you don't want to sit down for all this, then by all means, I get you. I got things to do too. But I will do that afterwards, but I really wanted to do more of a what the next 6 months looks like. This Linux version is gonna be a little tweaked. It's TKG, both the kernel, NVIDIA drivers, and the Linux one's gonna be on the absolute bleeding edge of performance. On the Windows side of things, we have more of a slightly tweaked Windows 11. So this should be what we're going to see in 2022. And I've already looked at a couple of the benchmarks, just kind of done a little subtle ones, not really tested it out like we're going to do today. But it's pretty damn exciting. So with that, let's get into it. Big shout out to Craft Computing for the $5 super chat. Appreciate it, man. Check out Craft Computing. Awesome dude. I always hit him up over on Twitter too. So with that, desktop time. Let's get into it. Oh yeah. This is what we're going to do. This is where everything's going to live. I've already done a little bit of a CSGO benchmark on my 2060 in Linux. This one is about 336 frames per second, but I wanted to kind of show you how this process works. PTS, or Phoronix Test Suite, is what we're using, and it is absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to actually turn down the volume here so it didn't just blow us out, but it may make you a little nauseous. We'll go full screen if it does. You guys just let me know. But other than that, this should be pretty exciting. All right, let's do it. Audio muted, and now we're gonna just do kind of like a CSGO. We're just gonna do a test run here, and we're gonna go run test. I think it was run test PTS, and we're gonna go CSGO, and just a 1080p on this guy. Yeah, I'll have some beginning tips and everything coming out here soon as well. No, Linux Zen kernel is actually inferior to what I'm using today. This is the definitive best, most optimized, greatest, ultimate kernel you can use. Which, actually, before we run this test, we'll just do a neo fetch. A good little starting point. So it's actually running 5.15 RC3 TKG, which is optimized for a Ryzen desktop. This is a custom build kernel from the TKG project that I built And then all the NVIDIA drivers are also built as well with a lot of TKG performance tweaks. Why I did it this way, and it's a little more complex. Not everybody can set this up for sure, but I did it this way because I wanted to give you an idea of what Steam could do, because Steam will be using Arch base. They will be doing images, which means they're going to lock a lot of these system files down, so it's not just going to get away from you. And it's going to be this bleeding edge performant Linux kernel, not just the stock stuff, because Linux by default's always designed with servers and reliability in mind, not really a desktop user or even a gaming user for sure. So that's why I'm doing it this way. So yeah. As far as access and control panels and ATIs and a lot of the Windows utilities you normally use, it's a different ball game. It really is a different way of doing things. There isn't the same stuff, but honestly, I'm okay with that. Mainly because a lot of those tools are just added bloat, and they really don't have a lot of utility beyond some hobbyists and stuff, that type of thing. But a lot of times those tools do more harm than good, in my opinion. And yeah, so this is Arch, vanilla Arch, just a custom kernel that I built. And the Windows 11 will be the pre-release official version, completely up to date as of October 4th. Probably very, very close to what we see on the official launch day. How did you install Arch? I did it on the last stream, if you want to Google that. Depending on how well this stream goes, we might just reinstall it, because I might just make a test image for folks. Because with Linux, I can actually distribute images and just say, hey, here's how I build it. You can build it yourself. I always encourage you to build it yourself. But then I could just make a custom image, and then you could download it through my website if we do it that way. That's the beauty of Linux. Everything's open and free, which is awesome. So, with that, now that we got a good base, it's time to show you the first test and do a Phoronix test. Just to kind of get our feet wet, kind of see how this benchmarks things, because some people use, like, we can use, I think, Firestrike and stuff, but that's not really gaming, That's just kind of taking some bench test material, and I'm always kind of like tinfoil hat about how those companies do it. Like, what happens if a gaming company is like, hey, we really want you to give us higher scores? I mean, I don't think that happens, but I don't know. I'd rather just see the real world experience. So that's why Phoronix Test Suite's my go-to, because it gives a more accurate depiction of what we should see in the real world. All right. So we'll do that. We're not going to do all tests because it's kind of pointless. 1080p at CSGO on this type of system, it should just blow it out of the water. And we will not save these test results because I've already run this test result. I kind of already know what's going to happen, but I just kind of want to show you what that looks like for a regular test. And I'll be answering chat why this runs. Xorg over Wayland. Xorg every time, man. I'm a big Xorg guy. I just love Xorg. It just works so darn well. Facebook servers are down. That's funny. It looks like we're going around 300, 400 frames per second here on this benchmark. And if you're not familiar with Phoronix Test Suite, this has a predetermined route. So everything is exactly as it would be, and it gives you a better example of what you should see in game. Some people just kind of get in game and mess around a little bit, and that just is not the same as running the exact same route with the same everything. The shots, the zoom in, everything is identical for every single test. So it'll get a really good median average and actually give us the tail of the tape. There's no wiggle room here. This is what it will be. There's no, hey, oh, well, this wasn't run or that. No, it should be identical every time. All these streams get archived on the members live stream archives. If you go to the regular Chris Titus Tech channel page, all the way down you'll see archived live streams. I don't ever put them on my channel anymore, as it can hurt you on YouTube, because people will look up your page and they'll be like, "What are all these 3-hour live streams? I don't want to watch this guy for 3 hours. Just give me a 10-minute decisive video," and that's really what YouTube's for. All right. So this is where we start. This is the Linux version. As you can see, we scored off the charts, 325 frames, better than any 1080, 1650. I mean, everything. It's pretty high up there. So we are in the 100 percentile for CSGO. Not surprising for this box. It's not a great box, but it's about what a standard gamer I think should have, with a 5600. 2060, if prices were normal, this is what I think most of the population should have. So pretty darn good for the first run of Linux. Next up is the next one, which we will save this one. And I think I have that. So we'll have this one for the very first base. My first run was 336. What was this run? 325. So my first one was a little bit better, but you can see that's still just killing it. So next up will be Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Let's launch into our... let's go. Here we go. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Where are we at? Yeah, it should be all done. Let's clear this. And we're just going to go home. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I'm going to launch into this first, just to make sure we have everything optimized and changed around. Also, the first run, you need to build Vulkan shaders on Linux. This is a downside compared to Windows. You're seeing this run for the first time. All I did was do the download prior to starting the stream. I never hit play because I wanted to illustrate the very first run of a game kind of sucks, because it will take probably about 5 minutes. It does not look like you will be able to run Windows 11 on unsupported hardware. I know they were already kicking people out of the Insider program. On my second channel on Titus Tech Talk, I went over how they were actually booting the unsupported hardware, because I actually showed and had a guide how to kind of hack around that. But they've already patched that, and sadly, unsupported hardware for Windows 11, it does not look like it. Also, it does look like they aren't going to support Ryzen 1st gen, and I believe it was Intel 7th gen. I think you have to be at least 8th gen. It might even be 9th gen. So Windows 11 is going to have some very strict hardware requirements. And Linus also, one reason why I wanted to do this video as well, Linus Tech Tips covered that he saw 20 to 30% performance declines. I don't see that. I don't see that, but he did say that, and you know, I haven't changed too much. I've just run my debloat tool and some other optimizations, but I have not really done anything with the processes in Windows 11, and that's my next big thing that I have scheduled out for next month. So that's one thing. Is this this seems a little slower than normal. Where are we at? Oh, did I not? I haven't even installed HTOP. This is still a pretty fresh install for me. We did this last week on a stream, so let's see. No, it's still building the shaders. So I guess Shadow of Tomb Raider just has a lot of shaders. All right. That's fine. We'll just let it run. Keep up with chat here. Oh, moving down here. Hunt Showdown. I think that's EAC. So EAC and BattleEye aren't supported yet, but both companies came out and said they will be supported around the time of the Steam Deck launch. Whether or not the developers enable the support is another thing that we're just a little unsure on. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen, but it's still a little bit of uncertainty around that. But I do believe that's going to happen now. Yeah, Hunt Showdown, Apex Legends, Warzone, they all are easy anti-cheat. Can't do real-world tests on those today. Yeah, no, you can't use Windows 10 installer for Win 11. I mean, we could hack around it, but just stay on Windows 10 if you're on unsupported hardware is basically where we're at today. Solus OS for gaming, I mean, it's okay, but I prefer Arch. I think Arch is going to be the king. If you're a serious gamer and you really want to give this Linux thing a go, I think honestly you have to be Arch based. Debian based stuff is just not going to be a great experience, especially if you have newer hardware, such as let's say you're one of the few lucky ones that got like a 3000 series or the 6000 series of the AMD graphics cards. It's not a great experience on an older Linux kernel. You'd want something like what I have today, where it's more bleeding edge, and it supports that newer hardware a bit better than a lot of these older Linux distros. That's why I use Arch. Do you still use Stacer? Stacer is a neat tool. I kind of showed that tool a couple years back, and I don't use it day to day just because it's a little heavy, and I'm so ingrained into more of a system admin workflow to where I just kind of launch terminal and run htop. But it's still a good software, I'm sure. Yeah, Watcher said EAC is actually technically supported right now, but it's whether or not they've actually patched the game and enabled the EAC patch. I don't know anybody that's done it yet. Correct me if I'm wrong in chat. But we can try at Apex or whatnot. Hopefully, I know PUBG's a little bit of a big download. I don't want to be sitting here just watching a download bar the whole time. A lot of this is going to be watching a download bar, but you know, goes with the territory. Is Windows 11 releasing tomorrow? I don't know about the release schedule. I actually haven't been paying attention since I've been on the preview here. Do I expect Linux to be much faster than Windows 11? This is a good experience. I don't. I honestly think it could be for some, but honestly, I think each system needs to be optimized for gaming. Without optimization, it's not going to run great on any system. So for today's video, I really wanted to optimize both the Linux section and then also the Windows section, so we have a little bit more of a fair shake. Now, I could skew this to make Linux look better. If I just did a stock Windows 11 install and then didn't change anything, I think Linux could beat it. Let's say you didn't do anything with your Windows install and you just had it stock. I think Linux could technically beat it because Windows 11 has close to, at least on my system, around 200 processes. So a bit heavier than Windows 10. Now, a better question would probably be, hey, what's the difference between Windows 10 gaming and Linux gaming? Windows should pull out ahead. Windows should, in all intents purposes, I expect to beat Linux in today's stream. But we'll see. Should I upgrade to Windows 11 tomorrow? Hell no. Hell no. No, do not upgrade to Windows 11 on launch day. No, do not do that. That's a bad idea. I have it on here just so I can, just do my stuff. But man, do not upgrade to an OS on launch day. It's a bad idea. Unless you're a tech YouTuber and you just you're glutton for punishment. And you want to make a video, because there's probably going to be some shenanigans for sure. That's funny. Yeah, so everybody's saying October 5th for Windows 11. Don't update. Do not update to Windows tomorrow. Back up your system if you do. Do a full image. I did a video called Clonezilla. It's a free imager. Image your whole system, and then you can update. But I almost guarantee you, you're not gonna like it right out of the gate. Yeah, we'll break down some of the 200 processes as well. Once we boot into Windows, we're gonna let this finish up. These shaders are taking a long time. Come on, Linux, man. God, I tell you, even when I prep for a stream, something like this happens. But I mean, I don't want to pull the wool over anybody's eyes either. That's why a lot of these live streams are for. So you, instead of the edited down to a 30-second clip, you get to see the full experience here. Building these shaders for the bigger games does take a lot of time. This does seem a little egregious, though. The Proton version we're going to be using is a TKG version of Proton. This is a little bit ahead of Glorious Egg Roll, and it should be even faster. I'm also using TKG NVIDIA drivers and a TKG Linux kernel on a bleeding edge version of Arch. So this is highly modified, but I did this because I believe Valve will also be following suit in doing something very comparable to what I'm doing today. So I'm on a preview release, and how preview releases work on Windows is usually they just kind of keep rolling and updating. So as long as I keep updating my system every, I think it's 90 days, I just keep on that bleeding edge of Windows 11. And that's kind of how I do it. Just got to remember to log in every couple months to Windows and update it. If I don't, that could be bad. Why should we not update? I'm a student of history, and I've been in this industry for 20 years. Microsoft has never had a perfect launch. You're asking for it. I told you so. Told you so. You go ahead and update at your own peril. But I've done, oh man, I mean, even longer than 20 years. You go back to Windows 95 was a disaster. Windows 98 was a massive disaster. They even did a second edition version of 98. You had Millennium Edition, which that just was terrible all the way around. You had XP, which everyone has these rose-colored glasses of XP, but literally up until Service Pack 2, XP was, it was so bad. It was a virus magnet. And then they finally put like Security Center and firewall in. I think it was SP2 of Windows XP. Might even be SP3. And then you got Vista, enough said. Windows 7, which was probably the best release they've ever done. And that was still not 100% at launch. Pretty close, though. I'd say that was the closest launch that wasn't just a catastrophe. Windows 8, the start screen and just a lot of the issues with Windows 8. There was a lot of driver issues with Windows 8 when it released. Windows 10, again, another decent release by Microsoft, but it still had its fair share of issues. It was quickly released in pretty rapid succession, a lot of patches to get back up to date. That's, like I said, wait 6 months is usually what my recommendation is, at least. And that's if you're like you want to be out there, but doing it on launch is usually asking for problems. Oh, what happened there? Oh, there we go. I was about to say. Still got my screensaver. I'm like, oh gosh, please don't tell me. That'd be terrible. Yeah, so this is not a crappy system either, guys. Like I said, those shaders are going. This is a 12-thread 5600X. Those shaders are just taking a while to process, and it is running. It's just it's a sizable game, and this typically only happens once in this kind of realm, so you're not doing this for very long, but it's just good to know. It's an extra 30 minutes out of your life, the very first launch. This isn't every launch. We'll launch it a couple times, you'll see, but I wanted to do an initial launch here just so you can kind of get a feel for this. Oh yeah. Oh, Facebook outage. Oh, that's a shame. Couldn't happen to a nicer company. Oh well. Yeah, so I think this is using LLVM. Someone brought up shader compiles. This will be improved. If I was running a Radeon card right now, I don't necessarily like NVIDIA that much for a lot of the processing and shading. Let's say I was a hardcore Linux user and I only wanted to use Linux. I don't think I could stick with NVIDIA. And that's just because a lot of the drivers and baking in a lot of these custom kernels, it's kind of a pain on NVIDIA. It's a lot more painful than the AMD counterpart. When I was running a RX 580, this was such a good experience. And why I bring this up is because someone in chat was like, hey, what kind of shader compiler are you using? And there's two versions. I think it's LLVM and ACO. ACO is so much faster and usually gives a lot better experience. And I believe this is LLVM just yet. I can check it after this. We can actually do a command. But ACO should make a lot of these shader compiling and rendering a lot faster. Oh man, MySpace. You know, back in my day, we had MySpace. I remember you could have like music on your page. I think I had the Postal Service. You guys remember them? I'd play a song, but I get copyright claimed in 2 seconds. But I had Postal Service playing on my MySpace page. It was awesome. It was kind of cool, all the customization you could do back. I think it was like 2006 was MySpace? 2007? Nah, it would have been, yeah, it would have been 2006, I think. It's kind of funny. Yeah, so I'm actually using Wine TKG for my Wine version, which you can see. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. Yeah, here, let me, I already did a NeoFetch, which this is the NeoFetch. But if we do a Pacman Q grep TKG, you can see all the TKG packages that I'm using right now. I am using the Wine TKG staging F-Sync package, the OpenCL NVIDIA TKG drivers, the NVIDIA Dev DKMS drivers, which is just fancy term for saying video drivers, and then the custom 5.15 RC3 TKG kernel. So everything should be the tippity top of what you can expect from performance here. Yeah, such great heights, man. That was it. Postal Service, such great heights. Ah, so good. So good. Oh, I was on Debian. Last stream we had problems with Diablo 2 Resurrected. So I was like, forget it. Let's just put it on old Arch. A lot of times, if you're in like a bleeding edge game or a bleeding edge driver that you need, Arch is where you want to be. Because on Debian, typically they wait 6 months to a year before they really incorporate a lot of it. I can't play Warzone yet, but soon. Trademark. Very, very soon. I'm still not using Secure Boot. So Secure Boot, not on my watch. I hate Secure Boot. I think I even saw a comment the other day saying Secure Boot and TPM, those are what you need for security. And I'm like, whatever. Stop drinking the Microsoft Kool-Aid. There's a lot more you need for security. TPM and Secure Boot are good things for security, but it's like Microsoft makes it sound like it's the end-all be-all when it's like probably 2 or 3% of what makes a system secure. The other 98, 97% are so many different factors. TPM and Secure Boot are such a smaller part of security. They're more for the physical security. So if you're afraid your system's going to get stolen, like let's say on my laptop, I would do Secure Boot. I would encrypt my hard drive. Those types of things. That's more of a physical realm. But these days we need to be worried more about the virtual realm than the physical one, in my opinion. Not to discount the physical, but it's just not as big of a deal as many people make it out to be. Been playing CS for 14 years. Why no one is worried about latency in game? Yeah, my latency's crazy low right now for CSGO. We killed it. We could do another CSGO test if you want, but I don't think we're gonna have any problems. All right, let's say that. Quit. Oops. All right, reading is hard. All right, we're gonna go options here. Set all this up. Go full screen. Come on. Nope. All right. No full screen. We'll leave that. That's fine. We don't want to always show this. I think most of this should be fine. We'll probably skip the launcher after I set this up, but I just wanted to kind of do an initial play and set the options in the actual launcher. Most times, if you don't want to launch into a launcher and then into the game, you just add a little trigger on the launch options of your game, and then it just runs without intro movies, without a lot of the garbage you see like this. I haven't set any of that up yet, though. So we'll hit continue here. All right. I got Twitch reward, Twitter. Oh, wow. All right. Just getting all the rewards. Let's go options. And we're going to go display graphics. Full screen. You usually want full screen, 1080p. Since it's a 2060, we're going to be doing 1080p gaming. If you're into 4K gaming and that type of thing, that's not going to work really well on a 2060. Would not recommend it. VSync I usually leave off as well. AMD Fidelity FX doesn't really work all that well on NVIDIA cards. Again, going back to what I said about AMD versus NVIDIA on here, I prefer AMD, but well, I'm on NVIDIA. Let's go graphics. Anything in here, usually I turn off like bloom, motion blur, reflections and shadows. I guess we could leave on, but it doesn't really matter too much to me. Lens flare effects. This isn't a Michael Bay film. No. Remove like blood or dirt on camera. Yeah, I like to turn all that off. All right. So that's pretty good. It launches. Everything's good. I like to do that the first time before we run our actual bench. And now we should be able to do a Phronix test run, which if we come back here, we're going to go test suite run. Then we'll switch over to Windows, and then we'll probably finish up the stream more of like on RTX. RTX, most people don't really even care about, so that's why I'm going to just kind of leave that off for now. And we're going to just run this test. Let's see what this looks like. Shadow of the Tomb Raider text. Oh, could not be added. Okay. I thought I installed it, but apparently I did not. No, that's already installed. There we go. All right. Nope, that was not it either. Forgot the dash. There we go. So now that's installed, we should be able to run. One of the joys here of benchmarking. All right, let's take a look at this directory, see what happened here. Huh. Let's go. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is there. Ah, okay. Didn't look like it installed. Interesting. Guess we'll try to run the install command one more time. Yeah, it already says it's installed. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And just run that. But I don't think that's gonna do it. Why doesn't it like that? To Google we go. Ah, man. Oh, is it missing? I don't think that was it, right? Run test Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Nah, that's not it. And we just did a listing. I don't think the executable's installing properly from Pharonics. Well, crap. Let's do a Pharonics list test. Rep tomb. I think it's list test. All right, I'm reading chat. See if there's anything. Does the folder have the right permissions? That's a good question. Try a different shell. All right, let's take a look. Fastest kernel I tried was PF kernel. You can find it in the ER. I tried using Mad Magnet. I'll take a look at that. I don't know about using the kernel I've never heard of. I appreciate the super chat though. I'll have to research PF kernel. I've never heard of that kernel yet though. But thanks for the suggestion. All right, what do we got? We could try a different shell. And Pharonics list. Test suite list. Installed tests. So these are all the installed test. Run test. And we should be able to go Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Here we go. Ah, it's still not liking it. Huh. This test assumes you have a Steam account, Steam's installed automatically. This automates the process of executing the game by the built-in benchmark mode, backs up old preferences. All right. The test appears hung, manually exit Steam. That's fine. Let's try a benchmark first. It's probably gonna, let's go ahead and exit Steam. And I'm gonna go ahead and try and have this program run it. Or maybe install it real fast. Yeah, it already shows installed. Yeah, for whatever reason, that's not gonna do it. Let's try to do benchmark instead of run test. Nah, still no bueno. Yeah, I think it's actually missing the entire test. But let's do it, because I haven't run it sudo. Usually it puts it in like .Phoronix test suite right here. You can see that's executable. I have ownership of it, so it shouldn't be anything with that. So let's do a deeper dive. Take a look again. That's fine. Installed tests, PTS, all that looks good. So I have ownership of everything. Does not look like there's any other issue here, except it's just not installing it. What area are you located in? Love your debloat tool. Appreciate your great work. I'm in Dallas, Fort Worth, man. Appreciate the super chat there, Charles. So this one, let's do an LL of CSGO, because we already did a CSGO. And see, that one has, all right, I got an idea. We're just gonna do a Shadow of the Tomb Raider remove, and then let's rerun the install. Maybe I installed it before I downloaded it, or why I was downloading it, and that could have messed things up for me. Let's see what I have a good feeling about this. I think I just installed it before the game was installed, and that was a big no-no. Yeah, it's doing something now. I think we're good. I think we're good, guys. And let's take a peek at our Steam here. And if we take a peek over here, let's just do an H-top. Just make sure it's doing something. It looks pretty idle. Alright, if it appears hung, you need to manually exit your Steam client. So let's just manually exit. Just seeing if I hear the hard drive. Ah, there we go. A little hang up. I'm more positive this stream though. I think we're in better territory. All right, that's good. Sweet. Quit, exit game. And now we should be good. Test installation. And then I think I can just exit, and then it should be fine. Maybe. Okay, there it goes. I was like, come on. So now we can actually run the benchmark. We actually have it installed and working. Come on, man. All right. Maybe I'm not following some instructions here. Oh, sad face. All right. Maybe I need to launch the benchmark from inside here, and then it'll automatically grab it. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I shouldn't need the 1.1.0 there, Alan. PTS or Phoronix Test Suite should automatically fill that in. As you see, it grabbed the proper version here. What's up, Darth Maul? Minecraft runs at 1300 FPS on Linux, but 350 in Windows. I mean, it doesn't really matter after you get over your monitor refresh rate. That's one big thing I think a lot of people misunderstand about FPS. Anything over your monitor refresh rate doesn't matter. So if you have a 60 hertz monitor, well, I would say there's a little caveat there. I would say anything over double your monitor refresh rate, because I did notice a difference when the FPS is at like 120 with a 60 hertz monitor refresh rate. It does seem like there is some smoothing that happens there. All right, this time I'm just gonna exit. Maybe it needs to relaunch, and then I should be able to click benchmarks. Maybe. Yeah, Barkin install.log. We'll check that out the next time and see what it says if it does not launch into our Tomb Raider. But it should, right? Alright, we'll check the install log. I'm liking this big monitor I got on the side. I can actually read chat. Oh man. Alright, let's see what's happening here. Let's take a look at... Oh, well, it's there now. Really? Okay. Huh. Weird. I don't know. It just worked. So, all right, 1080p time. Let's just go with what are we gonna go? Highest? Let's go highest option. I don't want to pick all these because we're just gonna be watching the same test for like 8 hours. So we're just gonna pick probably highest. Probably do a blend of SMAA and TAA. We'll do 4 for this. Do you want to save these test results? Yes. We're going to save them within my CSGO file because I want to list these out, and then I want to rerun this test and save it out for the Windows portion. So we got a 1-to-1 comparison. And let's go with the unique identifier. Could I have picked a longer name? NVIDIA. I should have just named this Linux, but whatever. You know what? We're going to name it Linux. I'm going to delete that one result. Yeah, that's fine. 8 hours to run. That seems excessive. All right, and let's see, is there anything in here? I don't think so. Let's see. Yeah, we've only been streaming for about 50 minutes here. Who is Homer G Funk? That was actually one of my original avatars back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I did some competitive Quake II gaming, not 3 Arena, but Quake II. My suck anymore. My reaction times are not any, they're a fraction of what they used to be. Pretty solid FPS here. Yeah, this is Phoronix Test Suite. Frame times are looking good. Up on this upper portion here, look at that graph, and on the top left, anytime you see a big spike and it just kind of hangs, it causes jitter. So frame time is very important. Typically anything over 60 FPS, I'm just kind of looking at frame times to see if we see any jitter or lag, because that's going to be jarring when you're gaming. If the FPS stays above 60, most times you shouldn't really notice much of a difference. So frame time is a very, very important metric, and Linux over the past 2 years has improved upon this considerably. Yeah, and this is the highest graphics settings for this game, so I do anticipate a lower FPS, as most of the gameplay we wouldn't run at these types of settings. Is GPU Boost 3.0 working? I haven't tested that yet. This CPU's pretty in line for this GPU. It's a 5600X, and that's, you know, I think it was like $200 or $300. So a more residential grade CPU. And for this GPU, it'd be suitable. If I was gonna upgrade, I mean, obviously, if I wanted to blow it out of the water, I'd probably go with like a 5950. I would love a 6900X, but I'm not gonna pay $2,500 for a CPU and a GPU. If I could even get them for that price, it'd probably be $3,000 or so, which, man, that's just too much. It's just too much. Any thoughts on Garuda Linux? Garuda's not bad. All right, so the first run, usually what Phoronix likes to do is run one and then discard that first run, just so you have the texture loadings, all that stuff. And I probably should have added an option here to where it skips the launcher. I think there's a launch option you can do, so it will skip that. Oh man, a 39 at MSRP. Yeah, that's a dream. My little 2060 here, which is not bad, but it does everything. I mean, I'm not a hardcore gamer, and getting a 6900 really, why get something that 1% of the population has? If I'm not like hardcore gaming, which, I mean, even the gaming I do, I still do like Warzone and other stuff, but a 2060 suits my needs for 1080p gaming. I think if you go into like the 4K realm, then it would be justified. Yeah, so we're gonna do a comparison, one-to-one comparison. We're gonna dual boot back into Windows, and from Windows we will check out and see what this looks like. So remember these metrics. For that first scene, we were averaging between 70 and 90 FPS. CPU was a little on the high side at 60, 70. For the second scene, we average in the 80s usually. This is a pretty consistent one. CPUs 30 to 40%, not bad. And then I think in the final scene, we saw a pretty high CPU usage in the 70% range, with FPSs well in the hundreds, though. So we'll see. We'll see. Man, that 1070 is one of my favorite cards of all time. The NVIDIA 1070 was it's still a damn good card. You know, the funny thing about the 1070, you could probably resell that card today more than you bought it for 4 years ago? I think it was 4 years ago when it launched. Oh man, that card's so solid. Love the 1070. Yeah, it's a good card, man. I mean, at this point, you might as well just wait for the next generation of chips. GPU, unless you can get one at MSRP. But I would not buy them at the inflated prices right now. I'm not. And if I'm not doing it, you shouldn't. Unless you just have money burning a hole in your pocket. Or you absolutely have to have some kind of GPU. Oh, yeah. I mean, the crypto bust is almost here, guys. So we should be, once that happens, we should see a flood of used GPUs, which I'm kind of torn. I'm kind of torn on whether to recommend you buy a used GPU. Mainly because, I mean, I don't know if I'd want a GPU that's seen pretty hard conditions slaving away in the mines, you know? That's all I'm saying. Pretty nice results. Pretty nice results indeed. I'm very happy with these results because this is the highest settings at 1080p, which this is the higher end that we can test. So this is a 1080p test, and this is at max settings on a 2060. So if you're on a 3000 series or a 6000 series AMD, you're set. Like, this is gonna just doesn't matter. If you're on a lower end, like somebody mentioned 1070 in here, I think the 1070 benchmarks are pretty comparable to the 2060. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong on that, chat, but I'm pretty sure. What do I think of Pop OS sells Hidalgo? I would say Pop OS is a really good distribution for a first-time Linux user. I don't necessarily like its workflow. I like Linux Mint's workflow for a lot of Windows-based users coming over. I think it's a bit more user-friendly. But Pop OS is good. I do like Pop OS. It's a very solid distribution. It does seem like the FPSs are getting higher with each subsequential test, but I don't know. Could be my mind playing tricks on me. That's why we run multiple tests. Have you tried using Plasma Wayland Session recently? It's improved a lot. I have not, but with that comment, I will definitely try out Wayland on Plasma again. I don't use X11 as much as I used to these days, so I'll definitely use it a little bit more. The only time I really use X11 a bunch these days is from, I think it's WSL, but WSL actually translates Wayland and X11, I believe. It's kind of a weird setup they've done with WSL and how they read things. This should be the last of our test here. Let's see what happens. Because the first one's a toss away. Then I believe it's a median of 3 tests. And then we can move over to Windows. And we'll upload these test results. Everything's in the description too, so if you want to see these in real time or come back to them later tonight, you can. You can just pull up the open benchmarking. Everything gets uploaded there. Fantastic free service, which is great. Okay, did that guy just put like a Shaw on? Because before he was like, huh. That was odd. Yeah, maybe not. All right. Okay, trial count 3. Oh, okay. No. It's going to run a total of 7 tests. Ah, well. We'll just chat while this finishes up. Do you think Wine will ever reach 100% compatibility? No, I don't think so. Just because there's a lot of developers that just don't have the resources to make it on Linux or even bother with Linux. So it's almost impossible to reach 100%. However, we can reach in the 90s. And unless there's a big shift from Windows to Linux. Now, if Linux got like 10-20% of the gaming market share with like a Steam Deck launch, then much more developers would pay attention. But right now it's like 1 or 2%, and that's just not enough to pay attention to. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you spend thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars for someone to make it compatible, unless it's as easy as a checkbox? Like if you're building up your easy anti-cheat and it's like, oh, do you want to enable Wine compatibility? Yes. Then of course they're going to make it. So it depends on ease of use, but also a lot of games don't want to use Steam and they end up using something different, and it's just a little bit of a different game at that point, and that's why you'll never really get 100% compatibility. But do you need 100% compatibility? That's a great question. The answer is no, you don't need 100% compatibility. The big thing to answer here, and this is a different answer for everybody, but the big difference and the thing that you need to answer for yourself is, does it play all the games that I play? That's the question. And the answer is different for everybody. But does it play all the games you play? That's the big thing. For most people, I will say after they get BattleEye and Easy Anti-Cheat, the answer is going to be yes to a lot of people. Those things being kind of held back, I will say it definitely shelved a lot of Linux gaming for many people. Is Pump Buster a thing still? Does Punk Buster? That's Quake 2 days, right? Hey, Sparky, how's it going, man? Long time no see. Why is the Steam OS download page down? Well, okay, so Steam OS only had Steam OS 2 out, and that's so old at this point. It's like 4 years old. You don't want to ever download Steam OS, so that's why they took that off. All right, so I swear the last test, that dude right there that just passed was wearing a kilt or something, and this time he's wearing the other thing. I don't know what that was, but yeah, that was weird. Okay. So this result, pretty solid, I guess. What, 94.6 percentile? Yeah. Average 94 frames on this one. We will view those in our web browser. And, oh, wait, you know what? I think... we do want to upload these to benching. Would you like to attach system logs to it? No. All right, results open. We'll launch that. All right, so now we have the Shadow of Tomb Raider, the CSGO right here. I messed up on that one. We'll just, I guess I could rename that Linux of some sort. Let me see, maybe I can do a quick rename here. Ugh, I can't remember how to change the identifier in the test results. Whatever. I can always rerun that. Let's do one more, because there was a good variance. The last one was 325 instead of 336. So I'm going to just rename that as Linux. And we're going to rerun that, just so we have a CSGO counterpart. And we're just going to go CSGO. We're only going to do 1080. Do you want to save these test results? Yes. CSGO 2060. Unique name. Identifier is Linux. Oh, I can't do Linux, huh? Alright, we'll just name it Linux X. Whatever. It's fine. Alright, let's see what we get. Once these, another thing about Linux too, once things are set up, it's not like a moving target. Usually once you get things working, it just works. And you don't really have to worry about it too much. So yes, some of the headache here, some of the things I've gone over in live streams, yeah, it can be kind of a pain to set up compared to like the Windows counterpart. But once you get it set up, it doesn't change like Windows does. A lot of times you set up something in Windows, you get a feature update and things break, and then you're gonna updates, and it's like almost a moving target in Windows, where with Linux usually you get it set up and it just goes. So that's another notable difference. A lot of people have been asking about Warzone in chat. And some Punk Buster. But yeah, Punk Buster, I'm pretty sure does not work in Linux. Don't quote me on that, though. I could be wrong. I just haven't played a Punk Buster game. What is a Punk Buster game? Does anybody have an example in chat? Maybe I can install it. Hump Buster. Oh, man. Punk Buster actually, I think, originated in the Quake video game series, if my memory serves me correct. Are you playing New World? No, I haven't played any games these days, man. I always end up like going to and play a game, and then I end up tinkering, and I don't know. I mean, a lot of times I just enjoy just messing around more than anything, you know? All right. Yeah, very comparable to what our other test was. You want to view these results in a browser? Sure. Okay, that's fine. Would you like to upload these? Yes. No system logs. And do you want to launch? No. Funny Man, thank you so much for the super chat. Do you think if I put in a bunch of effort, I can get every game on Linux, or is it just games that have Linux compatibility? I think here in 6 months, in 2022, you can do that. I would say almost every game that I play, I can play in some fashion on Linux, except for easy anti-cheat games. That's the big thing. And You can even cheese that by doing like GeForce Now, by using cloud gaming and other things. It's not a great experience though. So I would wait till your games are supported in Linux with Easy Anti-Cheat and BattleEye, which should happen this year. But a great question. Great question. All right, here we go. So this is the two results. This is our Linux results right now. Let's just reload this. So these were actually both Linux. This is an earlier result. This is the second or actually third run, I think. And you can see very, very close to the same. And then this is our Linux run here. So we're going to run CSGO again and Shadow of the Tomb Raider in the Windows partition now, which we can just close out. Let's just close these guys out. As long as I can access my Windows partition. I don't think I've done any shenanigans between the last time I was on here. We'll see. We'll see, right? It'll be interesting. Windows time. Can it live up to our Linux counterpart? Because this is really the test. Because if these perform in the ballpark, it means that Windows will no longer be the de facto standard. It'll probably still be the one you go to, but this would definitely lend Linux to a lot more options. It would open up a lot more doors for people. But I think we're still about 6 months out. I think it's really 2022, around the Steam Deck launch. Most games should have patched in Easy Anti-Cheat, and we should have pretty good support. Yeah, so that's actually a good question from chat. Heldago asks, can you explain how GPU pass-through in a VM works? GPU pass-through is the idea that you have two different kinds of GPUs. They can't be identical GPUs, mind you. Two different GPUs, and one of them gets assigned to a Windows virtual machine. And basically what that's doing is carving up your system and saying, hey, this graphics card is dedicated for this machine. And oh crap, did I bork that up? Oh no. I think I need to edit that grub file. I had some shenanigans on the last stream, but we're fine. Anyways, continuing on. As I was saying, you're carving up your machine, and it's equivalent to having almost two CPUs or two PCs in your system. You definitely need two GPUs, but you also need a lot of memory because you're going to be sharing that memory between your main system and your VM. So you're basically going to have Linux running all the time, and then you're going to have Windows running inside of Linux on a VM. And every time you launch it, it's going to gobble up a whole bunch of memory, some CPU resources, probably like half of your cores, and then you're also going to assign it that GPU, and then it's basically a machine within a machine. And it works good. It works really good. I know it doesn't sound like that would work good, but it does if you have a good system. I don't cover this stuff because it's extremely technically complex. A lot of people can't do it, and it requires a crap ton of resources. And a lot of people would just be better off building another computer. And I kind of like the other computer approach, and how I would like to, I tackled it this way when I was wanting to use Linux 100% of the time. What I would do is I had a headless machine back in the rack, and I would simply just have that running all the time on Windows. And then anytime I wanted to play a game, I would just stream that Windows to my Linux box. and it worked great. But you could also do that with PCI pass-through. It's just a lot more complex. I've done it on my inside system. Gigabyte motherboards are a lot better than I had problems with an ASRock motherboard and ASUS motherboards. Depending on the chipset version you get on ASUS, it can be hit and miss on the PCI pass-through. So that's what it is. So hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, Hikari Knight in chat actually uses that as well. What's up, Hikari? He does a lot of GPU pass-through, and he actually made a good how-to article if you're interested in it. All right, so I think, what do we have here? Do we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider? Yes, we do. All right, we're going to play it. Go ahead. Yes. I have not done it. This is the first time running this system, so I'm just running in, setting the options, and then we'll back out. Yes, single GPU pass-through is possible, but it can be... I don't recommend it. All right, everything looks good, about what we want. So if we want to cheese these results and get Windows to win, DLSS, this right here would destroy Linux. So we're going to do one test without DLSS, and then we're going to do a second test with DLSS, as that'd be a big difference for sure. All right, so we're going to quit that. Now, I think... You think WinGit has Phoronix Test Suite? Let's see. Let's see. Search Phoronix. I don't think it would it? Oh, yes. Yeah, no. Phoronix, no. Would it be Phoronix Test Suite? I'm asking for too much here out of that package manager. Alright. We'll just do it the old way. It'd be cool. Alrighty. Let's go Windows. Oh yeah, 3CX, Sparky. 3CX is an amazing phone system. I've done a couple videos on it now, and I really love them. I actually switched out at my day job. Their phone bill went from, I think we were paying around $700 a month, and with 3CX, I think the phone bill's around $40 now. That's a hell of a savings, man. I love 3CX. It's great. Yeah, I haven't tried to divide up your GPU logical divisions yet. That does sound up my alley, though. I'll tell you what. All right, I think, is this just a, yeah, that's just a regular deployment. Let's just extract all this. Where'd you get that live wallpaper? I'm running that actually on everything, but Steam has a program called Wallpaper Engine. It's like $4. That's what I use. It's pretty good. I like it. We can actually launch that way. It's why we're waiting here. Should be right there. Do I have CSGO installed too? Oh, I do. Yes. This is the only time in a stream I've actually prepped and got the games installed. That's amazing. Have you seen the things you can install a firmware with an adjusted name and then use NVIDIA grid drivers? And oh man, yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out for sure. That's amazing. FSR does work on AMD, and that does give the equivalent of basically DLSS on NVIDIA. FSR, I don't think is working right on NVIDIA. I don't think it's giving any of the FPS gains I've seen people tout, but don't quote me on this, but I remember reading, I think this next month on Linux, we should see NVIDIA DLSS come in, and DLSS is pretty much FSR, but for NVIDIA. So that should be a big deal. Are you an Android or an Apple guy? Probably Android. It's not necessarily I don't like Apple, the Apple phones or the ecosystem. It's just so bloody expensive, and you can't really repair anything. And I'm just the type of guy that doesn't like debt. I don't like really expensive things. And to me, an iPhone is an unnecessary expense. Why pay $1,000 for a phone when I could do like this Pixel 4a, I think is what I'm rocking right now. It's like $300. Yeah, it's a Google product, but it's $300 and does almost everything that the $1,000 iPhone does. Sure, it doesn't have like a super fancy camera, but the camera in it's pretty darn good. And honestly, if I was going to go super fancy with my photography, I wouldn't use a phone. You know, there's only so much you can do with a phone, but when it comes to like aperture and a lot of the things, I mean, the iPhones are up there, but a regular DSLR or a mirrorless would beat it every day of the week. So yes, I'm an Android guy because I'm a cheap ass. So that's just it. RT, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Much appreciated. So DLSS does work. Okay. We might run back into that. We'll see what happens. Because I do like some DLSS on my NVIDIA cards. I've noticed a big difference. Yeah, a lot of iPhones do get thrown out, Hikari, with broken screens. That is a big difference. All right, let's see here. Thoughts on the Linux phone? You know, I mean, it's just such a hard uphill battle Linux phones have. I've used them, and they're good for security and privacy-minded folks, but you got to remember, Android and Apple have over a decade head start in billions, if not trillions of dollars dedicated to it. So it's a very difficult game to trying to catch up that much. I think they've done pretty darn good with the resources allocated to them, but it's not the same experience. I would have a hell of a time leaving an Android for Linux phones, mainly just because there is other parts of the ecosystem you can use, but a lot of people end up using like the Aurora store and other stuff that just meh. I've pretty much given up on the whole de-googling or that type of thing. I really would like to see the Linux phone and that own ecosystem develop to where we're not having to do these weird, hacky workarounds through unsanctioned stores. I don't particularly like that. What are we doing here? Is this installing stuff? What do we got? I don't know if that's doing anything. Ugh. Yeah. There's your 200 process count. All right. Come on. What's going on here? I don't really see anything in the upper portion from this. Let's relaunch. Let's go Windows Terminal with admin. Let's just go into our downloads directory and do this direct. And I believe that was Phoronix, right? Phoronix, yeah, that was it. And Phoronix test suite, right? Oh, no, that's a directory within a directory. Ugh. Could have done that better. Suite.bat. Yes. Enable usage. Oh, I pressed M, not N. Darn it! Come on! No. Alright, there we go. I wish Phoronix would update their Windows installer to just use WSL. WSL is now better than CY-Gwyn. Hey, afternoon, Michael. Michael's in chat. Glass taskbar will be transparent taskbar. It's a free software. You can actually just do win-get install, or you can run my debloat utility from Windows, and it has a little button you just press and it installs it for you. This is just what Phoronix wants. I don't really like CY-Gwyn anymore. I used to use it before WSL really was. Probably before WSL 2. WSL 1 kind of blew chunks. Nah, it didn't kinda. It did. WSL 2 was a big improvement though. Okay, yeah, I'll try the Proton Enable NV API. That's awesome. Let's go. Phoronix test suite. Okay, that does work. Phoronix test suite. Let's see. I was wondering if it added it to the bin file. I don't think it did. Yeah, well. I wonder... Nah, I don't want to run it through WSL, though. If I can stay away from it. Alright. So we've got this installed. Or actually, let me go... install.bat. I want to say this does... install directly into the home folder. Could be wrong though. Okay, no. It installs on the C file. Alright, cool. Alright. Sweet. So now I think we can just do our install test and then do PTS Shadow of Tomb Raider. Oh, the syntax is different. That's interesting. Huh. Let's see what the syntax is. I think it did change a little bit. Install. Okay, yeah, I'm just setting up the benchmarking. This works a little different Windows. We'll go ahead and do open benchmarking login. Get that set up, and that way when you guys are checking this and let's say you want to ever refer back to any of these tests, you can even easily do that. Open bench. There's no tab completion. benchmarking dash login. I think that was it, right? I think that was. I guess we'll find out. Open benchmarking, please. Don't copy and paste this into chat. Oh, dude. Really? Ah. Oh, YouTube has rewind. Crap. Dang it. Oh. Come on. Oh, jeez. What a nightmare. 1 second, I gotta change my password. Oh. All right, I'm almost there. Gosh. Can you believe that? You believe that? All right. Back to it. Gosh. Yeah. No, it was still visible. Oh, was it still visible? I think we're good. Bank account's empty. I was like, oh, sure. It's a password field. They're gonna mask that. Paste. Oh. Well. Goes to show what I know. All right. Onyx. Test suite. Open bench. Marking dash refresh, I think. Right? All right, I think we're good. Onyx, that's test suite. And I'm just going to look at the syntax one more time. I might go small screen and hide my desktop because I might need to re-authenticate after doing that password shenanigans. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm going to do that real fast. I'm going to do a login. Gosh. That was amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right. And we'll hide that. Come on, Pharonics. Killing me, man. All right, we'll do a login, do my password, grab my new password. Man, that was epic. Wouldn't be a stream if I didn't have some kind of messy shenanigans. All right. That should be good. I don't know if that's associating with my account since I switched it out, but it did give me a little bit of an error. That's all right, though. I think it got it. We'll come back to it, though. Here we go. All right. Pharonics. Install PTS Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Let's see how this works on Windows. Oh, it's not supported on Windows. Oh, yeah. All right, what about CSGO? CSGO supported on Windows? Oh, CSGO's at least there. All right. All right. Zoom in, enhance. Insert something about Windows security. It's true. Pretty sure that Sophronics team's bad on that one, though. And my login to the test suite is now invalid. Yeah. Oh, gosh. I think it was still kind of visible. Oh, crap. Was it? Oh, well. I mean, it's a benchmarking site. I've only uploaded a couple things. If I have to recreate a new account, it would be the end of the world. Yeah, I'm too used to Linux and Unix masking terminal commands, that's for sure. Why is he wearing headphones? I guess I don't have to. I just kind of like jamming out to my little chill background music, man. All right, so we've installed CSGO. Let's go ahead, run that. Let's see. Are we muted? All right, now we're muted. We have CSGO, run tests, CSGO, or PTS, CSGO. Let's see what we get. Linux was averaging around 300 frames per second on this test. We're going to go 1080p on it. See what happens. We will save the test results. CSGO-2060. Describe the test. This is Windows. We'll leave the description the same, and we'll go ahead and run a couple trial tests here and see what happens. See, Linux teaches you bad habits. Oh no, we got some failures here. All right, let's close this out. We might need to run this as admin. Oops, Pharonics, I think. Why we need to run this as admin is because it's not in our home directory, and I don't think we have rights to the Pharonics directory by default. But whatever. It's Windows, you just run everything as admin. Didn't say that. Did not say that. Run test CSGO, or PTS CSGO. All right, let's see what we get. Save the test. CSGO 2060. Windows is for this configuration. Description the same, and come on. All right. So Pharonics doesn't work so great on Windows. Yeah, when it comes to backslash and forward slashes, typically, I always think of it this way. You never see in the world a backslash unless you're in a Microsoft environment, typically. The world is always forward thinking, and Microsoft is always backwards thinking, so it uses backslashes. Pro tip of the day, how I remember what slash to use. All right, that's done, but it does not produce a result. Why is that? Pharonics. Let's try benchmark, and this time we're going to try PTS CSGO. Maybe the run test suite was just a problem. It could be the environment as well. CSGO 2060. I don't think it's going to work, to be honest with you. I think I'm missing a dependency of some sort to launch CSGO. Yeah. It's just going to error out. Yeah, I was able to get CSGO to work no problem on Linux, though. Oh, it looks like it's not just a DNS issue, but somebody deleted a whole chunk of the internet routing for Facebook. You're the true MVP, whoever that was. that's pretty hilarious. Wow, man. We're gonna have to. I'll cover the developing Facebook story after this. Holy crap, that's funny. Oof. Yeah. All right, let's see here. Let's launch CS:GO. Maybe it's gonna not. It should use my Steam account though, I believe. And if there's any CSGO players in the crowd, usually I think you can come in here and just go no joy dash full screen, I think it is. And that does fixes a lot of things. And I think you can even do no vid if I'm remembering the launch options correctly. That should skip a lot of the upfront stuff. Let's see. I bet you there's an old like DirectX dependency or something I'm missing on this system. So let's launch it first, and then I said it earlier in the stream, and then I didn't even follow my own advice. But launch it first, and then run your benchmarks. Yeah, I'd be fine if they took down TikTok too. Man, you talk about a time waster. Whew. Yeah, that's crazy. I've never heard of Facebook going down for 6 hours. At least it's been a long time since the last outage of Facebook like that. Yeah, I'll probably make a video after this. I just kind of want to show the benchmarking procedures and what I'm doing to try and do a one-to-one comparison. But getting these PTS results uniform through operating system, that's definitely going to be challenging. Because this is hung, it looks like. Why is that hung? All right. So it's not able to install DirectX apparently. Let's relaunch. Let's see what happens. Sometimes it just gets hung up on the Steam portion. Oh, the BGP routing. Oh man, I have a friend that's in networking. He does a lot of high level data centers. So he sent me, God, what was it? I'm gonna see if I can look back through my text posts. It was hilarious though. Let me see. I'll post it in chat. It was a YouTube video. And oh, I can't post that. All right, yeah. Are you down with BGP? It was amazing. Oh, there we go. Don't show again. Close. Close. All right. Ah, sweet. Of course, the second I like turn away to do something different, I have that just not work, or it start working. Sweet. Awesome. But yeah, no. Google, you down with BGP? Freaking hilarious, man. I was rolling. So now we have that launch, and let's try to launch Phoronix again. Phoronix test suite. And then we're going to just do Phoronix test suite, run test, PTS, CSGO. The fantastic driver I have on this system over here. Yeah, well, get it back up and going. All right, that should shake out all the lurkers in chat. I'm back. Oh, boy. Let's see. What do we got over here? Just pulling up the stream again. Man. I tell you. Things go wrong, they just go wrong. But yeah, no, long story short on my BSODs, I'm actually going to make a video about blue screens because this specific one, I have this voice channel that is wonderful audio, but the Windows driver for it is literally 6 years old. It was made in 2015, and it does not play well with a lot of the newer versions of Windows, and it has caused me several blue screens on here. So heck, we might even run into another one. They just I've done as much as I can to limit them, but long story short is the driver is terrible for this specific manufacturer. But oh well, so be it. All right, what do we got? Let me refresh up on chat here. Everything looks good on my end. Is the internet just having a rough day? Probably. Probably. But I did just crash, yes. Yeah, so I actually use a lot of proprietary Elgato-based products, and those Elgato products do not work well in Linux at all. And I have no less than, I think, 10 different devices feeding into that computer. The solution here is probably just to swap out that. I have an art voice channel that's the problem child here. I'll probably end up having to resell that and then swap it out with something better that's not going to have the same driver issue. But one of those things. What can you do? Moving back to it. Let's get back to desktop. We'll get it going. Yep, UFX. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Michael's been helping me out a little bit with that. So I'll be switching to UFX soon. That should fix all of that shenanigans. Oh, gosh, you know, that's not a bad idea, doing a joke benchmark with 3D Mark on Proton. We could do it. Yeah, let's see here. All right, so we're not able to get CSGO to benchmark on this sucker. I wanted to use that same Phoronix benchmark. Not happening. Maybe I can run... Maybe there's a different way of running Phoronix in Windows. Run Phoronix test suite Windows. Maybe it's an issue on my end. Let's go Phoronix test suite on Windows. Does look like it requires PHP. We'll attempt to download and set up PHP on the C drive. Do we even have that? Let's look. PHP is there. Okay, so it did install. It just might not be compatible with Windows 11. Because if I'm thinking right, it does use Cygwin or CYGin terminal. Let's try and do it in here, maybe. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, crap. I can't remember. This is just there. I don't remember how to launch this thing. It says the command should work on Windows. Not Windows 11. At least not yet. You know what we could do? Let's give it a reboot and see what happens. Sometimes Windows, after installing some stuff, maybe it just needs to register a couple DLLs on restart. And I did notice it was using some environmental variables, so let's give it a restart and give it a whirl again. Michael, on that, I was reading chat. I was just catching up here. On that art voice channel, you're saying don't use the USB. How do you get that into OBS? How am I going to digitize it if I'm using the tube output? Like, how am I going to bring that into OBS? That's what I want to know. What's the answer to that? The balanced outputs on back. I'll have to look at it again. But yeah, I need a way to bring that into there without going through a sound card. Bringing it in through like a 3.5 millimeter jack is terrible. There's so much noise on a lot of those built-in sound cards that makes it kind of pointless in my opinion. Use one of the mini analog to digital converters. Okay. I'll look them up. Michael. And yeah, I need to do an analog to digital conversion there. If you're saying don't use that, I won't. Because that would fix my problem. Not using the USB would definitely fix my problem with the blue screens. As I tracked back the whole blue screens, when I track them back, like looking at like Event Viewer. If you're on a Windows box and you have a blue screen, typically you'd pull up Event Viewer, look at your administrative events, see what's going on with your system, seeing if there's anything problematic with it. Like right now I see an error with like a Bluetooth USB driver. Usually it would actually give you some indication of what's going on or any errors you might be running in using an Event Viewer. But in my instance, the blue screens were happening so quick, you could only grab a memory dump, and it did not even put anything in the Event Viewer log, other than a big red error saying kernel power unexpected shutdown, which doesn't tell you anything. So I actually had to read the memory dump, and then I was able to track down the read of the memory dump to the driver that was causing the issue, and it was the ART driver that was actually put in there. So but Michael just told me in chat, hey, use a digital to analog converter instead of using the USB, and then I won't have that problem anymore. So thanks, Michael. That works out good. All right, one more time with feeling this time with the Phoronix, and I will launch into my Steam, which is good. And now let's do Phoronix test suite .bat, run test, and then we should be able to do PTS CSGO. Maybe. This is different. Hey, all right. Now let's enter all of our stuff and see what happens. All right, so we're going to go CSGO 2060. This is going to be the Windows portion of it. We have already done the Linux portion. And launch, please. Don't you give me a red error. Oh, come on. Phoronix, test suite.bat. Let's try the shell. Maybe there's some kind of interactive shell we might be able to get into and do something with. All right, let's try. I think we can actually go run test from here. Let's see if it does the same. I imagine it'll do the same thing, but I'm going to go ahead and go for it. Or we'll try benchmark. Benchmark. Yeah, run test. All right. This does seem a little snappier, I will say that. It's gonna probably do the same thing. Yes. Jeez. Let's put it through WSL. Screw it. At this point, I'm like, let's see what happens. I'm curious to see. Hey, HGH, how you doing, man? Long time no see. I think I popped you. You popped in on the last stream right as it ended. Oh, you go on the PCI pass-through it, bro. We were actually talking about that a little earlier. Right, come on. What's going on with the old Ubuntu here? Does not look like WSL's working now. Rutro. Alright, WSL. Let's just launch it in terminal and see what happens. I just don't want stuff to work. I can just launch a stream. Works every time. Ugh. Alright. What do we got? WSL. I think we could do a list and then do a forced shutdown of WSL, relaunch it. -- shutdown. Let's just do a WSL -- shutdown. See if we can't shut down any running instances. Relaunch it. I think there's something with Phoronix that it just won't work on Windows 11. There's so many things baked in on this newer version that is a bit different. Yep. All right, so WSL is borked. That's what's happening there. So let's just uninstall and reinstall, right? The old uninstall, reinstall always works. Let's not reinstall it. We're gonna try and... We should probably reboot, but I don't want to. I just rebooted. Yeah, OpenGL, I agree. It's always a little buggy. Doesn't really do it for me either. Not a big fan. There's a reason why everybody's moving away from OpenGL. Still need to remember to fix my grub shell there. Had a little error. I had to manually point the UUID of my drive. Oh, well. Oh, there was updates. Oh, good. Always happy to see updates. WSL, what are you going to give me? You going to give me anything, WSL? Still nothing? Oh, there we go. Thanks, WSL. You're the best. You and I are best friends. Alright, let's just try some Pharonics action through WSL. Ah. Pharonics? That's sweet. Install test. PTS, CSGO. Let's see if that does it. I don't think this is probably the proper way to do this, but we're gonna do it anyways. I'm already kind of curious, and I don't think Pharonics is gonna work in native Windows. I think their whole Windows thing is just more geared towards Windows 10. Windows 11 is a little bit of a different beast, and it's just not gonna do what we want. So we're gonna have to just kind of cheese this. It's probably not gonna give us good results, but let's see. I'm curious at this point. I think I already had that. Let's just do that. Extensions are recommended, but not... Okay. That's fine. All right, let me catch it with chat here. Any news about Facebook? I didn't realize that many people still use Facebook. I haven't been on Facebook since... I think it was 2017, 2016. I have a Facebook account for Chris Titus Tech, but that's just so some troll doesn't try and imitate me over there. Because there's a ton of trolls in the world. Let's see. Missing dependencies. Oh, boy. Reattempt install? Yes. I think it's gonna want to run Steam through here. That's not probably gonna work all that well. That's gonna run it all through WSL, which... I mean, we could try it. I don't think that's a good idea. What's Steam devices? I don't think I've ever done that. Anybody tried Steam through WSL? Steam has no installation candidate. Yeah, it probably doesn't like the fact of trying to run it through WSL. So does Facebook actually run through Cloudflare? What is it? Is it even going to respond to a ping? I don't even know if they respond to ping normally, though. What's like an NS lookup give us? I don't think we need to do. Let's just go facebook.com. Huh. Okay. Yeah, somebody's getting probably some heads rolling at old Facebook, man. That's kind of awesome, though. Yeah, thanks, man, for jumping on from India. Much appreciated. Out of respect, I'm not gonna butcher your name. Ooh, all right. Its own authoritative name servers, which can't communicate because their GP routes are down. What's that's gonna? It's gonna probably be what, 24 hours before they can repopulate all that, and that's if they know how to move everything. I don't know. I agree to disagree on this one, Michael. Facebook is not good. I think the whole idea behind interconnectedness of people is a bad one. Connecting people is... I think we can review the last 10 years and agree that they haven't been the best when it comes to connecting a bunch of people. I think in general, social media networks are not good for the general populace. At least that's my opinion. Now, I bet all their servers and stuff are there. Your data's fine from Facebook. I'm sure your data's fine from Facebook. They just, it'll take a while before they'll be able to repopulate all that. I don't know if you can build algorithms on safety. I don't think it's conducive of many... the greater good of things. When it comes to the greater good, a lot of times that goes against a lot of profitability and the bottom line of a business. When all of the executive team gets stock options and not compensation for doing the right thing, they're more incentivized to do the wrong thing. It's just how business works. I think there's a big pendulum shift in like the 90s when there was an actual law passed that restricted executives from getting, I think it capped executive pay at like $1 million or something, and then it shifted the whole point to stock options is how the main incentive for many of the people that run the companies that control the world today. And I think when that happened, that put profitability above everything else, and that caused a lot of issues. And I think social media falls victim to that same issue, without getting too political. As I'm more of a tech guy, more on the technical side of things. I don't really care too much about the upper end portion. Yeah, it's possible. That's true. It's possible. Maybe not profitable, but possible. That's true. Narcissistic paradise. Fair. I would say a sociopath paradise, because a lot of social media revolves around a lot of that. All right. We are not going to run Phoronix Test Suite through that. That's just no bueno. Let's see if we can get a CSGO Windows benchmark. Flightless Mango actually did one. I wonder how he did his. Probably Windows 10. Yeah, Flightless Mango got his in there. Well, how long ago was this? 1 year ago. He's the one that actually does Mango HUD. He does a really good job of comparing all three versions. That's what I just kind of want to pull it up myself and do it through Phoronix. But for whatever reason, I could not. I'll have to look at how he's doing his benchmarks and then just kind of redo the way I do mine. Because I know he's using Phoronix for a lot of that. But yeah, I'll check him out. I don't know on that. That was weird. I'm trying to think. So we already did Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but Shadow of the Tomb Raider doesn't run through Proton or the Phoronix in Windows. So that's kind of a pointless test. Although I think we could probably pull it up and at least get a baseline here using it. Let's do that, because it does, we can use the built-in tools. And we'll also do Warframe. So I just wanted more of a measuring tool like Phoronix. So we'll launch Warframe and do the built-in one there, because I know that'll work both in Windows and Linux. And then we'll also do CSGO, or not CSGO, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I think it has a benchmarking tool we can launch out here as well. It just won't have the nice HUD, but we can do a Windows G, I think it is. And then pull in this over here. And then I think the options here, we can manually launch our benchmark. We'll take these off. I took these effects off on Linux. So we'll take that, hit play, see what we get. I mean, I'm not a big fan. Danny asked about trying eGPUs under Linux. I am not a big fan of eGPUs just in general. All right, not new game. Let's go options. I think we can do a benchmarking. Yeah, through here, run benchmark. We're going to just manually run the benchmark from options. This should be the exact same thing that PTS shows us. Let's keep an eye on the CPU, GPU usage, and then our FPS, because this will tell us more of a one-to-one copy of what the difference is on Linux. I know it's been a little bit since the last benchmark, but the big thing here was the initial one being between 70 and I think 90 FPS for the first scene. The second scene ran between, I think, 80 and 100 FPS, and then the third scene started around the mid-hundreds, and I think it slowed down to about 100 to 90. But yeah, that's already probably a good 30 to 40% uplift compared to the Linux counterpart. No, eGPUs are external graphics cards. You can actually plug them in through the USB-Cs. Or Thunderbolt or Lightning. Oh, there we go. Dropping about 190 on the FPS. Yeah, I would still say Windows face stomps Linux on the FPS front by a good margin. Because this isn't even optimized, really. I've still got like 200 some odd processes running in the background on the Windows box here. So it's still a good sacrifice when it comes to FPS on Linux. I mean, it's still very playable, mind you. You just know that you need about 20 to 30% more headroom for more of a equivalent experience. Because this is Windows 11. That's still pretty bogged down, I'd say. The Steam Deck's not going to do jack in this front. I've already fast forwarded to what the Steam Deck can do 6 months from now. So when the Steam Deck launches, this is what to expect. It's not going to be... They'll have to compensate for performance in Linux by adding better hardware, is basically what I'm telling you guys. If you have the exact same hardware, one's running Windows, one's running Linux, you're going to see probably a 20 to 30% uplift in the Windows realm. So let's say Windows is running at 100 FPS, Linux will be running around 70 FPS based on Shadow of the Tomb Raider here. Now we're going to pull in some other tests too. We'll do Warframe as well because that's going to run a little bit differently, and we'll compare the two tests and just kind of see. But looking at these tests, it's a good 20-30% difference between the Windows and Linux counterparts for Shadow of the Tomb Raider at least. No, I think Tomb Raider, I believe, does use Vulkan. So these are Vulkan tests. OpenGL would be even worse. This is Windows native versus Proton. So average FPS was about 125. If we look at what was it? Open benchmarking. Let's log in here. And if we look at the last test results, I think this one has them. Show the Tomb Raider. So in Linux, it was about 94.6. In Windows, about 125 on this benchmark. Let's run it again and see what we get. We do have DLSS off. If we enable DLSS, it's going to be considerably more FPS. It'll probably be around 200 FPS on DLSS. But we can run it again just to have two, because we did run 3 or 4 different benchmarks on Windows or on Linux. Let's give it at least 2. Let's see what the average FPS is here. But that's a pretty good sizable margin. Can we benchcraft Minecraft? Oh. No, we cannot bench Minecraft. Oh my gosh. The debloats. I haven't really debloated this system, Stuart. As far as restore point, what I'd probably do is delete all your restore points, and I can show you that after this benchmark. I'll show you how to flush them. I would flush your restore points if your system restores hanging, because I wouldn't run any kind of system tool without a good backup, or at least a restore point. Yeah, let's test DLSS after this. I'll reboot into Linux, and we can run a DLSS test and see what we get. As I'm curious to see what happens with that. I know someone asked me earlier, hey, why do you have headphones on? Because I kind of like to listen to what I have going on in the stream. It allows me to know when I'm talking, and then also I like the chill background music that I have on the stream. It's weird when I have like long pauses and it's just like this deafening silence. Yeah. And my ears get cold. Yeah. Not really. It's Texas. But hey, appreciate the thought. It's no worries, Stuart. I always like getting questions. You never know. It always ends up, some people learn something. Some people are afraid to ask the question, and heck, some people might want to know, hey, what happens when system restore craps out on me, or my restore points end up bloating my entire drive because someone set it to like 25% of its capacity. There's all kinds of weird shenanigans that can happen with system restore on Windows, so it's a common problem. Listening to a motivational speech. Got the King's Speech on over here. Which CPU do you recommend for a 1070? Please answer me. DX2, 66 megahertz. Troll mode on. All right, I think that's pretty consistent here. We got 125 on the first one, second one, 124. I think that's pretty good. Let's go ahead, turn DLSS on, and then run it again. Let's apply the changes. Yep. And then this one, I imagine the uplift to be go from 124 on average to 180. I'm going to guess 180 for DLSS. That might be too much, but we'll see. No, so if you have a 1070, I'm sorry to troll you, man. Probably a 5600X. I have really enjoyed the AMD 5600X. However, we're getting so close to a new launch from Intel, you might hold off. If you're a big Intel guy, do those exist anymore, though? I don't know. But Intel does have some new chips out, and the preliminary benches look really, really promising. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm not seeing a big uplift with DLSS. This looks almost identical. Yeah, DLSS, if it's there, it just hit Linux. And I'm talking more Arch. If you're on Debian, there's no way you got DLSS. No way. I think it just got added in, I think, NVIDIA 470, I think. It might even, I don't even know if DLSS is out yet. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I'm not a big System Restore fan, but you need some kind of backup. I mean, System Restore is kind of like a better than nothing kind of scenario. I don't think I'd ever rely on it for a reliable backup. No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. It's not. I wouldn't think. No, I wouldn't. But it's better than nothing. And most people don't actually put a good backup on their system. So that's why I always recommend Restore Points. Let's test. I think this is a pretty recent NVIDIA driver. I want to say I updated. No, it's almost brand new. It's the latest. It's the latest WHQL. Because the last NVIDIA driver I installed was I needed to update. On my last stream, I was talking about Diablo 2 resolutions, or the textures were bugging out. That was an actual NVIDIA driver issue. I hadn't updated my NVIDIA driver in several months, and Diablo 2 Resurrected had issues with an older version of the NVIDIA drivers that was causing texture problems. Specifically for me, it was in Act 2 of Diablo 2 Resurrected when you're running against the mountains. It would kind of bug out and kind of mess things up. All right, what do we get? DLSS perform worse. Oh, I did not expect that. Wow, that was like a good 10% less. What? All right. Well, good to know. Let's close that bad boy out. Quit the game. So we got that one run. While we're on Windows, I want to go ahead and get a baseline and the Warframe font. We're going to do a crossfire on Warframe, just so you have another system that we can kind of cross-reference here, because I do occasionally have played Warframe. So let's see what this looks like while we're here, and then we can kind of see the two. So I think Warframe is more of a DirectX version, where we're going to be more leaning on the Vulkan side of things on Shadow of the Tomb Raider, where this is more DirectX. So I anticipate a big difference in FPS between Warframe on Windows and Warframe in Linux, which the Vulkan side of things, we saw about 20% more, 20-30% more in Windows. On DirectX, I would imagine it'd probably be double. Or maybe not quite double, but a good bit more. Mike asks, Arch Newbie here, better to install apps with Pac-Man or Yay? Typically, I would say Pac-Man, because you don't want to install a bunch of stuff from the AUR. It's going to mess up your system if you install too much stuff from there, because the AUR is constantly building stuff, and that's what you use Yay for. Now, having said that, sometimes you can install regular packages with Yay, and that's totally fine, but just know when you go Yay-S and then your package name, it's gonna install sometimes outside of the regular repositories, which are proven packages, and start building something weird. And that's when you run into problems. When you have too many of those packages, man, Arch almost breaks every time. And don't break your Arch install. That's not no bueno. So I always suggest, if you're new, use Pac-Man. What is a good stable Arch distro? They all are unstable in some instances, depending on how you use it. If you're using Yay a whole bunch on any Arch distro, you're going to probably end up breaking your stuff by doing too much from the AUR. So it's more, I think I did a video a long time ago about Arch maintenance. So if you're interested in that, definitely watch that video. It kind of will show you what to expect, so to speak. God bless. I've doxed myself on this stream so much. Oh well. Less for the trolls to do. Alright, what do we got for FPS here? Let's take a peek. We're about 300 something FPS. 330. Some 200s here and there. I mean, anything in the 200s and above, it's like, who cares? It's so much FPS. It's like, give me all the FPS, yes please. So yeah, I don't see any lagging. Seems pretty consistent. But again, this isn't an actual like scientific measurement. Does seem a little jerky there, but that could just be the benchmark tool. Yeah, if you type in for the email Crossfire, it'll automatically launch kind of like the benchmark for Warframe. So since we weren't able to do like a total like Phoronix 1-to-1 comparison to where we can get like the official one, I kind of wanted to get a good like 1 or 2 minute run. Not exactly scientific, but I actually want to show people in chat, hey, this is what to expect when you run these games, instead of just saying, hey, here's the average FPS for the test run, and get more of a feeling for it. So right here, we got quite a bit of particle effects. It dropped into the lower 200s on the low end here, but most of it was closer to 300. But now we're kind of hanging around 200s. I think it's just because there's a lot of entities and things that are just kind of hanging out on the ground. It's gonna just has a little bit more to draw as this goes on. Got any tips for improving virus support? I guess insert rm-rf /**. Make sure to run it as sudo. Don't do that. don't do that. Don't do that. I was just doing it before chat did it. All right, I think we've got a far enough stretch. You guys want to try this in Linux and see how it fares? We were starting in the 300s, probably the lower to mid 300s. Now we're looking in the mid 200s, probably on the low end, probably around 200. I didn't really see too much lag necessarily. Just occasional here and there, but nothing too crazy. All this looks pretty good. So, with that, we've done Shadow of the Tomb Raider. We kind of got a good comparison between the two. Now let's boot back and see what we can do for Warframe. Get that going on Linux, because I have that loaded up, I know for sure. Let's close this out and give it a little restart. Yeah, I'm trolling chat now. Usually chat trolls me, but today I take back control. Here we go. Oh. Yeah, that's pretty good, Vanna. With the KVM over Windows as host. Yeah, PCI pass-through, you see almost no difference. It's really good. PCI pass-through, I can't say enough good things about. If you want to go that route. Like I said, it's not for the faint of heart, though. All right, Warframe time on Linux. Let's see what happens. I think half this stream was just troubleshooting Phoronix Test Suite. Mostly in Windows. But there's some problems with that. Warframe, let's play. Now, I have launched Warframe earlier in Linux. I think. I'm pretty sure I did. So I don't think we're not gonna have texture builds. It's like, please no more texture builds. That's how we started the stream off. Now this 2 years ago was not a great experience. A lot of times I think I used a standalone launcher through Lutris to log into Warframe. I never ran it through Steam. These days though, it's pretty darn seamless. As I say that, I should have waited till we started the benchmark, because now inevitably there's going to be a problem. Oh, come on. Just light up, play button. Don't you do this to me. Linux isn't really meant to, so Linux is designed differently. There's really no reason to run a lot of things you download from the internet as super user. Like when you go to install programs and some stuff like that, you will use super user. But in your day-to-day, you're not going to just randomly run programs as sudo or super user. In Windows, you typically will. There's going to be actually quite a few instances where you're going to go right-click, run as administrator. That really doesn't happen that much on Linux, and in comparison. All right, I'm going to stop this. This is ridiculous. Come on, man. Yeah, if I ever have a stream like without any problems, I'll be amazed. Oh, there we go. All right. So that's what it normally does. I'm just like, what? What's going on, man? Somebody's behind the scenes pulling the strings, messing with me. All right, now let's just do Crossfire in the email. And let's see what the Linux counterpart is for this. This was about mid 300s starting out on Windows. Linux, about the same. Let's see if I see any tearing. Let's see the movement. Mid 200s, 300s. Oh, little bit of a lag there. Oh, well, that was because Hikari sent me a message. I'm streaming, Hikari, jeez. Oh, you closed it when it was ready. Okay. That's funny. It was probably just finishing up. Yeah, so this is running Proton under TKG. And this is, I believe, a more DirectX version. I don't believe Warframe uses any kind of Vulkan. And as you see, very, very comparable to the Windows counterpart. This is a bit more what I was expecting. So when people say, hey, Steam Deck can't compete, I would say that's not necessarily true. On some games, there's a noticeable downtick. Shadow of the Tomb Raider was a good example, which is kind of surprising because it was a Vulkan game. But on here, it's definitely different. And now that I'm thinking about it, maybe Shadow of the Tomb Raider, because it was running native. I don't know. Let's I want to almost revisit Shadow of the Tomb Raider and take a peek at that and see what doing like DLSS would do to it. Because we were averaging in the 100s, about 120, 124, 125 on the Windows average FPS on Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And then when we did DLSS, it actually dropped 10 frames for some odd reason. Let's see about doing DLSS on that and see what happens. Yeah, in Linux, the average FPS was about 95. Where you saw about a 30 frame difference between Linux and Windows. But I want to rerun that command because based on these two, hell, I can't even pick a winner because the FPS is so much that Windows was running, you know, in the 200s for this type of scene, and it went up into the 300s, much like Linux is doing. I mean, we're splitting hairs here at this point. It's over 200 FPS. And it's a 2060, so it's not like the highest end thing here. It's just killing it regardless. Like, heck, that almost hit up to 400 FPS. So this is an older title, Warframe, but I mean, still a lot of players, still a very good title to test. But no difference really between Linux and Windows, I would say, on that one. But let's go back into Shadow of the Tomb Raider because this is, crap, I didn't mean to hit play. Let's cancel. Let's go DLSS and let's go DLSS, Linux, Steam. I think there's an option. Look at this. I like the title. I need to take a lesson from this guy. This is some good title right here. NVIDIA DLSS on Linux is straight up witchcraft and pulls ever closer to Windows. That's a good title. I don't care who you are. YouTube, tech writer. All right, I like this. Let's see what we're doing here. DLSS. How to use DLSS on Linux. Blah, blah, blah. Directly from NVIDIA. I think we are already using that driver. Cool. Magic, blah, blah, blah. 2 games. What's he using? No Man's Sky, and what game is that? I don't know what game that is. What is that, chat? Yeah, there must be something different there with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, because Warframe played almost identically than Windows. Launch. Option. All right, let's change that to Proton Experimental. I like that idea. Let's go properties. What are we running in here? Oh, this is running native. Wait a second. What if we switch this to TKG? We weren't even using Proton. We were running native on Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I wonder. Oh, that'd be freaky. Let's let this finish updating. Because this TKG optimized with my kernel, I bet you it'll pull out. I think we'll increase from the 95 average frame rate to something else. And I'm gonna run the in-game benchmark. I'm not gonna use Phoronix. Phoronix maybe added something to it. I don't think so, but I think it was running. I know it was running the native one. Now I'm curious. Here we go. It's a good title though. Witchcraft. I'll remember that. Video soon. But this really should perform worse. We should get... Oh, please tell me it's... Okay. We should get a considerably worse experience. But dude, I don't know. It's redoing the shaders. Now, the first time we launched the shaders for this, it took forever. And that took, I don't know, 3 or 4 seconds? So, when I started the stream, it took almost... Oh, no display driver. Okay. That's weird. Let's hit play. Did it just crash? It might not like running in Proton. Maybe I got ahead of myself. It might also not like the TKG build. Yeah, it's not gonna work. It shows the cards there. Let's try exclusive full screen. DLSS is grayed out. Turn off lens flares and screen effects. Okay. Yeah, it's not gonna work. That's just an immediate crash. Let's change that out. Let's try Glorious Egg Roll 2. Close that. Hit play. Should do a reconfig in the background and relaunch. Is that launching? No, I'll let it sit for a second, because I think it needs to rebuild a lot of the wine bottle when you switch your Proton version. Yeah, we can try experimental after GE. After this, let's see what happens. Yeah, no display driver included. Play. Oh, a black screen. That's better. Well, hot damn. We're in business. No shader recompile. I am definitely intrigued. DLSS is grayed out. The rest of this should be equivalent to what we saw. We go graphics, bloom off, motion blur off, lens flares and screen effects. Okay, perfect. Run benchmark. Now, so this one's running in Proton. This isn't native Linux. So technically, it would make sense that it would perform worse. It should be in the 90s or below, because our last average frame rate was 95. So let's see. Or it just crashes. Oh, not DX12. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. Run the game in DX11, not 12. Let's do that. So you're going to give me the launcher, though. Ooh. Did it not? I don't think it did. All right. Oh, there we go. Got the launcher. DX11. Okay. Yeah, DX12 support in Linux is still dodgy at best. So, now let's see what we get. All right, here we go. This time around, display graphics. All that looks good. All that looks good. Run benchmark. Let's see. See if we get the same crash or not. DX11. Come on. Maybe. Maybe. Ah! Yes, it did it. All right, that did it, boys. DirectX 11. Thank you, chat. Now, this is Glorious Egg Roll. We can try experimental after this is done. Although, I will say that FPS does seem higher than the native. I mean... oh, that was rough. That was a bit rough right there. Yeesh. Okay, maybe not. Don't think that's good. Sorry, Jennifer and girl. Oh. Yeah. This is actually what we're on. We're on the Arch one. Oh, man. The FPS on this one's going to be like a dog. No. All right, we're going to try experimental to go to DLSS. Because DLSS is witchcraft, according to text journalist, I can't remember his name, Joseph, maybe? A lot of chat saying shader caching. I think we probably ran into some shader caching at the front end there. Well, we probably need to burn this test and try the next one. Okay. I did use SMAAT2X on the Phoronix native test. Yes, thank you, Eric, for that. Appreciate the super chat, too. But, yes. That would make a big difference of why the native was not doing well. Now, we are getting a ton of choppiness here, which tells me the shaders are not there yet. Whenever you get that real big stutter, and you get almost like the slideshow a little bit, that's typically shader caching. So this is definitely going to be a burn. It's going to be a terrible test. I'll rerun the test as native as well. But, I mean, the native test is, meh, who cares? There's so few Linux native games that it doesn't really matter. So many spikes. Yeah. Probably around 5. 30 minutes. Great. Pay no attention. All right. Actually, the average FPS was not as bad as I thought it would be. But I do want to get to the witchcraft portion of this. The DLSS witchcraft. Let's go full witchcraft here. I think we need to go there. We need to do it. Let's go. Compatibility. Experimental. Update. Play. I'm going to check for DLSS. If DLSS isn't there on the experimental version, I think we had... Somebody in chat wrote something. What was that? What was the command? I thought somebody wrote in chat the command to enable DLSS. Maybe I'm losing my mind. Benchmarks Super Tux Cart. Yeah, Super Tux Cart's gonna work just fine. Okay, Patriots Flow. Apparently Stream Elements didn't like him and banned him for posting the solution, but thank you, sir. NV API equals 1 should get us there. Alright, but Loki, you have a great one. I'm wearing your shirt too, man, by the way. Variant. I love Loki. It's a great show. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what we get. Yeah, NV API equals 1. I think we got to do more than that, but we'll go ahead and enable that and see what we get. We'll go ahead and enable that portion of this guy. So we got Mango HUD. We're just going to set this variable NV API equals 1. Close that out. Hit play. Go to options, and we should see DLSS enable. Let's see. Hopefully. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. No. Darn it. Negative. I mean, let's launch into game. Maybe in game will be different. I need to check out Mint Edge. I like the idea of that. Rolling, it's almost like a rolling release, but not. It's still held back a couple of revisions, but more bleeding edge to where if you have newer hardware, you can get your stuff working. Oops, nope, wrong way. Let's go display graphics and no DLSS. No such luck there, y'all. All right, so let's go ahead and run one bench here just to see what we get. So I'm curious if it's going to be in that same 90 FPS realm. And then I want to do the original one, because the other one, I think we were... can't remember which one it was, but someone in chat posted it. It wasn't a one-to-one comparison compared to the Windows counterpart. All right, let's try this one. It should still keep a lot of the texture cache from last time, so I don't think we'll see as much stutters. If we could get an uplift to like 100 FPS, I'd consider that a win. Proton enable. All right, 1 second. We're gonna cancel that. I want to get, if I can get that going, man. I want to see the witchcraft in a box. All right, what do we got? Proton enable underscore NV API. Proton underscore enable NV API. Just like that. Oh, turn off stream elements? Okay, I'm going to turn it off. I didn't realize it was causing so much problems. Yes. I'm about to wrap up the stream here in a little bit. I just want to see these final tests. And then after I finish, I'll turn off stream elements for next time. I didn't know it was deleting people's messages. All right. No, it's still not there. You turkey. All right, well, let's run this benchmark, and then we'll do one more benchmark after this in native and see what happens. This is Arch. Vanilla Arch. Although I think I'm going to switch to Mint Edge. That sounds interesting. $2X SMMA. Yeah, so this should be the same one that we did on Windows. Same settings as Windows, as it was stock. All right, according on the Gaming Linux website, Wrangle writes this. You need Proton underscore hide NVIDIA underscore GPU 0. All right, stream elements. You're off your rocker. All right, 1 second. I gotta. Let me ban Stream Elements from the chat. Ban Stream Elements. Nope, that did not work. Ah, crap. What's the... view deleted message. Dang it. What's the command? Damn it, YouTube. Fix your live chat. Just want to ban some bots here. Okay. Ugh. All right. Proton hide NVIDIA underscore GPU equals 0. And then Proton enable NVA API. Should be good. Yeah. Sparky, I did give you access. Maybe you can get in there and disable it. All right, let me see. Or actually, no, I got it. This is running in the background. Streamelements.com. YouTube's. Yeah, I think those FPSs are gonna be still in the 90 frames per second range. Nothing to write home about. All right, I kicked out Stream Elements. Yeah, about 90 frames per second. Nothing great, but that's okay. That is all right with me. Because we're going to close this out. We're going to get some DLSS. I want to see this work. If it could match or get close to Windows, that would mean the world. Here we go. Come on. What's going on here? There it goes. All right, we got Proton enable. We also need Proton underscored hide NVIDIA underscore GPU equals 0 space. All right, so we got Proton hide NVIDIA GPU equals 0. Proton enable NV API equals that. All right. Sweet. Perfect. Well, Zach, thank you for reposting that. And Stream Elements didn't ban you. Bots, I tell you. So now, what are we going to get? Magic. Come on. I want witchcraft. That's what we're going for to end this out. That didn't seem... Yeah, crap. Still disabled. All right. Well, that was uneventful. DLSS still vexes me in this current setup. Yeah, thanks for that, Patriots Flow. At this point, I'm just going to say, F it. Let's go ahead, change this out to the native one. And then I want to rerun the native without any of this. Let's go compatibility. We're going to switch this back over to the native one. I wonder, I don't think we need any of these Proton options anymore, because we're not even using Proton. I could leave them in. I don't think it hurt anything, though. G-Overlay. I think I looked at that at one time. G-Overlay is an interesting project. It's a GUI for Mango HUD. But Yeah. All right. We're going to launch back into here. Then we're going to run the benchmark directly from here, and this should see a better comparison to our one-to-one counterpart from Windows, because I was doing SMA a 2x for the other test, where in Windows I didn't do that, and obviously that's not a good comparison. So I was saying like 20-30% difference, but I think that was wrong. Let's see here. We're getting a couple hundreds here. That's good. I still think Windows is a bit better. But like I said, I mean, we're talking about a 20% difference, which if you're butting up on the end of your game, and let's say you're playing like the latest and greatest game, that's going to be probably a problem for you. But if you're already getting 200 FPS in the game that you love, like Warframe, I mean, no, it's 300 FPS. 300 FPS is what we were running in Warframe. So the difference between that is menial. And honestly, in Warframe, I didn't really see that much of a variance in the FPS. I did never see any drop below 200 FPS on Windows or Linux. I saw both of them get close to breaking 200 FPS, but Tomb Raider's just built a little differently, I guess. I don't know. But a lot of the chat was saying they were getting Tomb Raider FPS better in their version, but I don't know if they're running NVIDIA cards like me, or if maybe they got DLSS working. Then yeah, I could see that. If you got DLSS going, you could definitely see a big uptick in FPS. A good example of how much DLSS can affect things, I remember enabling DLSS in Cyberpunk, and my FPS was going from the 40s to 60s all the way to 100 FPS. So it was more than a 2x increase in FPS on Cyberpunk. So DLSS does matter, and this not running at DLSS seems a bit disingenuous to tell you the performance of Linux. I think in the end, we just need to wait for DLSS and then rerun some of these tests, and maybe I'll just tinker offline and see if I can get that going, because I'm sure it's something menial. CSGO, I couldn't get working on Windows. It worked great on Linux, though. 330 FPS with like a, I don't know, 10 millisecond frame time. I mean, it was something just stupid. To where it was, yeah, it worked great. It worked absolutely great. Killed it. Hey, what's up, Riggs? Yeah, AMD I think is just a better experience all the way around. And where's our result? Did it just crash on us at the end? That was weird. That was strange, man. Oh, you know what? I think it's auto launching into the benchmark. Oh, boy. What happened here? It is auto launching into the benchmark. What? All right, let's take that out. We're just doing Mango HUD. That's interesting. What is going on with that? That's odd. That's crazy. What? It's not gonna give me a launcher, is it? It's not. What the world, man? Okay. So my Phoronix somehow hard coded in my Steam to auto launch the benchmark without launching the launcher or anything. What? Okay. What in the hell? That is beyond weird. Let's remove all our launch options. Nah, same thing. Never seen that before. Well, this stream was just full of surprises, wasn't it? Entertaining, I'm sure. I don't know how much educational content was in this. Few, maybe a little bit, but I don't know. Not great. Not great at all. Yeah. Phoronix definitely modified some kind of script or something in there. Messed me up, man. Messed me up bad. So, but yes, CSGO, I mean, it all worked pretty well. I think we would have seen a lot less of a discrepancy if I got that benchmark running all right. I don't know what I did with Phoronix, or maybe Phoronix somehow overwrote that script. It was kind of funky installing it. So I guess I could just do a verify of my local files as well while I'm sitting here. I bet you they added something to the launcher or changed the launcher around, which is just kind of strange though. The game's like, it's Titus. He just wants to benchmark. He doesn't play games. I mean, not that far from the truth, but I do play some games. I've been playing a lot of Diablo 2 Resurrected lately. Yeah, check your save data or .config. These are a Sennheiser wireless headset. Love them. They sound phenomenal. Very comfy too. I guess I could take them off, but I kind of like them. I like hearing the background music while I talk. Reminds me not to try and fill every void of every silence. You blame my KDE. I love KDE, man. Come on. Oh, why is the KDE hate, man? I've always loved KDE. It's been my favorite desktop environment. But I understand. It's not for everybody. Come on, what's going on here? No, KDE is not a problem for games. You love things that crash. Well, I mean, I guess you're not that wrong. I do love fixing things that crash. There's something beautiful about fixing something that's broken. And sometimes that means you gotta break it to fix it. You know, I'm down for that. I love that. Duke writes that 470 had problems. 470 had a memory leak too, I want to say. I don't think the NVIDIA 470 drivers are all that good, and I think that's what I'm using. If I am correct, I can actually pull it up on desktop here. We go on here. Let's just do a Pac-Man cube, and we'll just grep NVIDIA driver. Okay, I guess we'll just grab NVIDIA. What are we on? We're on 470.62 for the driver. Yeah, so the next update, which I might need to pull from, I think I'm using TKG's NVIDIA. Let's get poll maybe. I think we got some additions here. Let's see, what is... last update was only 3 days ago. 370 series and driver. This is what I'm using for my driver right now. I'm using DKMS. Let's reload this though. Right now I'm using that. Let's switch it to the 74 series. Oh, I was using Vulkan Dev as well. So I think if we switch to the 74 series, and we're gonna run with DKMS because I'm using a custom kernel, I'll go ahead and run this. And I think that might give us a little, it might fix a lot of those problems with DLSS as well. Mint gives me nightmares, says Signin. My school uses it, and my teacher teaches my classmates Linux with it. I mean, Mint is stable, though. That's the big thing. I don't think I've ever broke Mint. I mean, I don't think I've ever really broke... Oh, I've broke everything at one time or another doing something silly. Yeah, KDE does come with a ton of bloat. I do recommend if you're going to go the KDE route, use KDE Meta, or I think some things call it KDE Desktop, I think. I can't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, KDE does have that. Yeah, I broke everything but Mint. Sounds about right. Sounds about like me. All right, let me see. What am I missing, Sparky? Oh, I see it. Phoronix changes your XDG base directory. Ah. I think Unity will fix all your issues. Oh, yeah. Oh, crap. No. No. Probably going to end up blue screen that. Thanks for the super chat there, Loki. I think Unity will fix all your issues. Possibly. Alright, this is the build of 470.74. Oof, you know what? This monitor on the left-hand side is insane, by the way. I was like, maybe I can just look up and if I can find that one post for the DLSS command. Alright. Dev, or... Yep, remove that, please. Remove that. Remove that. Remove that. Shoot, man. Seems a little bit dicey. But we're going to do that and then reinstall all this stuff. I think, honestly, guys, the DLS wasn't working because I was on a dev build of the NVIDIA driver. I think that's what was causing some of my issues, because that dev build of the NVIDIA driver I don't think had been updated lately, and I think it was still on an older version of the 470 NVIDIA driver that was causing problems. I think updating the latest and greatest, I'm going to do some more tests probably offline about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what the problem was. I should have just gone with the 470-74 driver, which is what we're installing right now. Just looking at this right now for Pharonics. All right, so this is good. And we should be able to, so right now we're running that. And we should be able to just do a reboot, reload all those modules, and then we should be on the latest NVIDIA, and we probably can get some DLS support then. Yeah, KDE Meta is what I've been using. Good point. Thank you, Zake. Thoughts on WSL? I've always liked WSL, you know? WSL's not bad. I need to look at my grub config, man. I'm getting so many errors. Oh, man. I've messed up that bootloader so many times and repaired it. It's just like a patch job. Barely working. What is the terminal transparency? I think it's like 70. I think that's what I'm rocking. Something like that. 70, 80 usually what I run in. Let's see. So if we do a Neo fetch, that all looks gravy. And then let's do a Pac-Man Q. Let's grep NVIDIA. So now we have all the latest and greatest kernels on here. Let's exit that. Let's launch back into here. Finish it out with one more Tomb Raider test. I'm refusing to give up. It's like, come on, DLSS, we can do it. If we get that. What was it called? Proton. Proton underscore enable NV API equals 1. I think that's what it was. Then we got Mango HUD. And then I think it was percent command percent, right? Does that look right? Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot the first part. Proton underscore hide underscore GPU equals 0. And let's hit play to that. Oh, no. Ugh. Well, ain't nobody got time for that. Let's throw it in our Proton version. I remember that being faster. All right, Proton experimental. I just want to try this one last time. Oh my gosh. Chris, have you checked out Lively yet? I have not. I'll put that in a browser so I don't forget though. Lively. What was Lively again? I can't remember. All right. Here we go. One more launch. Got to finish up in the next 5 minutes. It's happening right now. Launch. All right, Vulkan shaders. I remember the first time we launched the game, it was literally, we sat here for like 30 minutes. It was insane. The shaders on Tomb Raider ain't no joke. Oh, Lively Wallpaper Engine. I gotcha. I will check that out. Lively Wallpaper Engine. Ooh, pretty. Pretty bookmark. Done. Thank you, sir. I will check that out. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Ready to launch. Okay. I feel like there should be another button here. Maybe not. Let's just play it again. Being impatient, but we're under the gun here. Ah, skip it. Let's skip it. Come on. Yeah, Riggs, that's what I think I did. And if we go into options, it's still not there. Well, I think we will end it on that note and just say we tried. I think I might revamp this. I'm working on creating like the best Linux distro for gaming, and figuring out a better way. I did do an ultimate Linux setup cheat sheet, and I think I'm going to do that again. And this time around, I'm on an NVIDIA CPU or GPU, which obviously is giving some problems, its own share of problems. But I really wanted to switch to NVIDIA this past year, mainly just so I could experience a lot of the gaming issues and woes that many people run into. So far, I gotta say, I really hate NVIDIA on Linux. It is a terrible experience. It was such a bad experience, it pretty much drove me off of Linux because of the NVIDIA card. Having an AMD GPU was a billion times better, and I loved that experience, but it seemed like as soon as I switched to NVIDIA, it's just problem after problem with integrating the proprietary driver, those drivers we have to load with a DKMS, all that crap you don't even need on AMD. You have some problems on NVIDIA, and it's not a great experience. So I am looking forward to covering a lot of gaming on Linux and seeing kind of where this goes, because I think the NVIDIA experience is terrible, but I do think many people will be very happy with how Steam does it, because I think Steam can bake all this stuff in, and them being all AMD on those Steam Decks, I think for the next stream, having said all this, just kind of thinking out loud here, I'm going to switch out that 2060 with my Vega 64 inside. And that 2060, I'm going to probably toss that into like the stream PC, because I don't think I can. I really hate gaming on NVIDIA in Linux. I just do it. And I loved the experience with the AMD. And hate me if you want, but that's my thoughts. That's just it. I really freaking hate how janky it is with NVIDIA. AMD was great. That's it. That's where I'm going to leave this video. Thank you guys for chatting. I'm glad I got this big effing monitor on the left side now, because I can look up and see 50 lines of chat and actually kind of catch up with chat as I'm like, oh, hey, someone said something, and I can kind of come up here with it. So I think it worked a lot better. I'm going to be doing a lot more live streams. I do love this whole thing. I do have an intercom, by the way, set up, Michael. 3CX right here. They're actually not a sponsor, but I did a video with them not too long back, and I loved it. So it's great. Oh, geez. So that's where we're going to go. And I will be doing a video about this whole deal, setting it up and doing a full comparison. I'm going to do just more of a performance between the two, but I need a more apples to apples because you guys saw I didn't do some settings were the exact same as that because Phoronix didn't work in Windows. And I'm going to figure out a better way to do a one-to-one test so we can get the exact hard numbers, because a lot of these did turn out pretty good. Some of them didn't. And yeah, I want to track all that down and then make a video about it. But at the very least, I hope I was entertaining somewhat today on this long experiment of comparing things in Linux. And with that, guys, I'll see y'all in the next one. And it does take 50 lines for me to see chat to say, hey, read the effing chat. Love y'all, man. Take it easy. It just is a little bit of a delay. Later, all.